time has come to bring this house's water supply to the 21st century. The water supply lines in this house are kind of a nightmare, so I'm kind of going to be doing top to bottom plumbing. Eventually working my way through all of it, but for right now I'm tired of all of our dishes having powder all over them after we run them through the dishwasher. I'll take you on a tour to kind of see what I have to work with here. Here's the pressure tank. And then there's about 3 lines here. I'm not 100% sure on what these 2 lines do. This line I'm mostly sure is the well. It feeds out in that direction for the well. One of these lines supplies water. I'm pretty sure it's this line that goes straight up. Supplies water to the old house. And the other one I've always thought was feeding in from the spring. The spring house out there. But now I'm not entirely sure, because sometimes it seems like it's feeding water into this portion of the house. So the spring water may just tie right in somewhere directly without a shutoff, which would be less than ideal. So let's look down here at the spring house. I'm pretty sure this was the main water supply to the house for the last 100 years. Don't mind the guinea hens. They're just very nosy. So there's the pump and the pressure tank for that. It's got its own filter and UV light, but I don't know. I don't want to really have to come out here whenever it gets below freezing and turn on the heat lamp and keep this thing thawed. So I think my plans for wintertime are to drain all these lines and just go straight with the well. There's the old house. You can kind of separate the additions by the chimneys. So one of the 2 chimneys on the right was the first one that was built in 1900, and then there was a second addition in 1930, I believe, and then this whole left side of the house was 1995. A few years ago is when the well was put in. Now let me show you what I'm working with on the old side of the house. Here's the old fireplace that they must have used for cooking at some point. So the water comes in there from the new side of the house, goes through sediment filter, and looks like a UV light that's not currently plugged in. And then the rubber hose goes into copper, and looks like more copper. Although this T looks like galvanized steel. Is that galvanized steel going into copper? Because that looks like it's rusting, which it would do, I believe. with dissimilar metals. Anyway, so another sediment filter that doesn't actually have a filter in it. Water pressure in this house is definitely iffy. So I'm wondering, see, that looks galvanized too. I'm wondering if the galvanized, I'm wondering if the galvanized connections are so rusted by now that it's cutting all my water pressure. But I think I'm going to replace everything that's old and or galvanized. So I had no idea what to do when it came to purchasing all of the components for the whole house filtration system. What I did first was ordered this test. Verify it wasn't too expensive, but it gives you a lot of different things to test. My results weren't anything too horrendous. The only parameter that was above EPA standards was hardness. So there wasn't really anything I had to get out of the water. So basically I chose items based on their ratings. First thing is this iSpring automatic sediment flush thingy. Having a farm with 4 young kids, I certainly don't need more things to remember, so the fact that it automatically flushes itself is pretty wonderful. Next are the next I can do the UV light. Another iSpring. Fancy looking. That's definitely the biggest one I've seen. And then for the sediment filters, pretty much 3 of these bad boys with 3 different, there's an iron and manganese filter, even though I don't have those problems, but can't hurt. And the last one is CTO carbon filter, 5 microns. I'm not entirely sure what the CTO means. And lastly, for the hardness, I found a very helpful YouTube video that I guess I'll link in the description, that helped me to calculate how big of a softener system I needed based on what my hardness is, and then how many people live in the house. It's 120 pounds. Wait, resin tank. 64,000 grain is what I calculated I needed. The plan is to build it on this wall. This is kind of what I'm visualizing so far. So the inlet will come in this way. From here there's a shut off and then a disconnect. First pressure gauge will go. It's back mounted. 3 stages. Ultraviolet light. It comes out this way, but it's going to be a few inches out from the wall. So I'm assuming I can just do a couple 90s, wrap it around behind, and then go back up. And then the other side has the same thing, pressure gauge, threaded disconnect, shut off, and then it'll feed into the house. And then right above here is going to be the bypass, which ties right back in over there. Alright, I have to mount these, and then I'm going to mount this on top of those, and then build the whole filtration system on the plywood. And I'm trying to put it in a spot where it doesn't cover up this or this, so it barely just fits somewhere in there. And I was just checking the height of this, so I think it'll all work. I guess we'll just find out. I tore out this carpet, so I'm going to build a wall here and relocate this door right there to kind of block all this off for whenever I finish the basement. Lovely. Finally got it on. You have to twist it much harder than you're comfortable doing. See it bend, and I was afraid I was going to break it, but that's the only way to get it locked in there. Said to wrap it 8 times. think that was 8. I'm not entirely sure. Too much. realized I made a mistake and I want to turn this counterclockwise 90 degrees so that I can keep the pipe, the water coming in on this board. Even though it really wouldn't matter, I still want to do that. So I'm actually going to disconnect this, use this on that side, and then rebuild. Oh no. Yeah, but it's fine. Just remember to keep in mind how you're going to get the actual UV light bulb inside of the housing. I didn't exactly plan that out too well, and now I'm going to try and figure out a way how to get it in. See what happens. That's not how it's done. It requires quite a bit of headroom to be able to actually get in there. And you can see what happened as I was forcing it a little too much to try and get in there. So that was a $35 mistake. I got a new quartz tube on the way. I forgot to film it, but just connected these hoses. This hose comes down. Connected this blue hose from the sediment filter too. Those two go down into this makeshift drain that I have going to a floor drain over there until I have enough time to trench a new 3-inch line that's going to go somewhere over there to make a new bathroom. I'm going to fix this the correct way and add a couple more coupling disconnects right there and somewhere down there so that I can properly take this UV light housing off whenever I need to replace the bulb. Quartz tube showed up. Let's install this the correct way this time. The last tube that I ordered that was way too big actually said that it was compatible with this light. And then this one that actually fits this brand doesn't have this brand listed. So super annoying. So the correct way to do this is to try and not to touch anything. for leaks. Well, first let me shut this off, I suppose. Starting to fill. No leaks yet. Slowly going through all the filters. $30 at the tank, and how's it 20? And this one must be broken, of course. Which is annoying. Doesn't seem like anything's leaking, so that's good. There was a slight leak at the coupling, so tighten that down more, and I think it's fine. This ultraviolet light is only on when water's flowing, so that's pretty cool. So that green light's on because I'm leaving the water running now. Get all the air through the system and the crud out before firing this thing up. The automatic flushing pre-filter is automatically set for every 15 minutes. Sorry, 15 days. 15 minutes would be very excessive.